Welcome to Greige Against the Machine, the podcast where we celebrate the extraordinary talent and accomplishments of lesser-known and even unknown artists and creatives. I'm Lisa Catara alongside Justin Harvey, and each week we'll explore the minds and stories of the journeymen and women behind your favorite films, shows, ads, music, and more. Those who craft magic without the red carpet spotlight or public eye, because everyone has a unique story to tell, and sometimes the most inspiring voices are the ones you haven't heard yet.
Welcome to season 2 of Greige Against the Machine. It's the unscripted journeys of the real working class Hollywood. And we got a doozy. But I got a tan. I got a tan. There's a lot of reasons.
You've been on a boat. You've been having fun.
I've been on a boat. There's a lot of reasons why we haven't been here in our space, in our safe space with all of you.
Busy beginning of the year. We apologize. The fires in California.
Fires in California. God bless everyone who got through it and now who is getting to it to bring that city back, a city that Lisa and I both love dearly. That is my second home. Lived there for 23 years, even though I'm in Cleveland now and Lisa's in ATL now. We are still Angelinos, partially at least, at the very least. So our hearts go out to everybody who dealt with all of that bullshit.
Oh my God, I've never seen it. Anyway, you were on a boat. You were having fun.
I was on a boat with a lot of wrestlers, and I was filming a ton of stuff. And big shout outs to Juventud and Thunder Rosa and Will Ospreay and Viva Van and on all the peoples out there who were kind enough to stand still long enough for me to either photograph or get them in a video or whatever the hell we had to do. It was like work and play, and the Dominican Republic was involved and craziness on a boat. Now, you know wrestling, right? Wrestling in a ring is already trepidatious, right?
Right.
Imagine when the ring starts
on a boat when it's
These fools were like, and so many of them had never done this before. It's the sixth one, but
did you
so
pass
many
out
of them were like,
some bonine before they got on the boat and be like, please
man, look, there was so much Dramamine popping on that boat. I can't even tell you. Anyway, we're back.
Right. Today. I'm
Justin. That's Lisa. What do we got?
Technically, our 9th episode of Greige Against the Machine. And Greige Against the Machine was literally created for people like us in the entertainment industry, the not A-list celebrities, which is like 96% of the entire talent base, guys.
Right. But we're from Cleveland. We like people who work. Like this is a working class. We like working class folks.
Yeah,
working work for a living.
Yeah. So, we obviously we're going to have a lot of our friends on because 20 plus years in the industry, we meet some pretty amazing people. And I do. I've got some amazing friends. The one we have today is actually one of my favorite people, not just like in the biz. He's like one of my favorite people. Damion Poitier. Oh my God. Actor, voice actor, fellow game maker, personality, Comic-Con favorite. People love to talk to him at Comic-Con. His background, I mean, he started in, I think, 2001, I want to say. Veep, Justified, Sons of Anarchy, Star Trek, Picard, The Flash, Mighty Med, and Captain America Civil War, which is a very prestigious role that I'm going to have to ask him about because it's just so cool.
I mean, he looks a little Vulcan in this headshot right here.
Totally.
With all the Star Trek credits. Like, he looks like doing some serious, intense math. But forget the math and let's bring in Damion and see what's up for real.
Yay!
Welcome.
How we do? Yeah, thank you for being here. Oh my God, finally, right?
Right. Yeah, it was some movements.
There was some stuff.
Some savings,
but you are completely unscathed from the fires, yes?
Yes, I'm in a nice little pocket that, for the most part, avoids that kind of thing.
So, well, are those DVDs behind you or books? Those are DVD. Those are books. So Fahrenheit 451. So you made it through.
Right.
I might have to preface this, Justin, because you'll like this. Damion is a certified blurred, big time blurred. Reads, loves comic books, loves games. Like he's legit.
I got my own D&D. What do you call it? My own D&D setting. So
one of us.
Yeah, I've been doing it since. I was a blurred before I was able to do the stuff. Like I was in it before I was able to do the stuff, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to go do the stuff."
Right.
So how did that even happen? Like you were from Massachusetts or Philly?
Originally from Philly, born in Philly. Was there for a few years. Then my parents were like, you know what? The inner city, if you don't have to be there, maybe not.
Great idea.
You know? Yeah. So, there's plenty of people come out of there. Plenty of people don't.
Yes.
We went to a place that was a little less to a suburbs of Massachusetts in suburbs of Boston. And so was there for a good number of years. And then I actually at some point was like, all right, you know what? Let's do this entertainment thing. Let's actually do the thing, because I knew I wanted to do it. It was always the plan. Like I have had this has been the plan since I was 4.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, I knew what I was doing. Yeah, I knew this was it. And I was like, all right. Massachusetts is okay, but let's see if we can do it. So we went down to Florida, Orlando, which was popping at the time. And this was 98. We went to Florida. And so I was down there for a few years, and I said, let's see if we can make this happen. Got my SAG card. Glenn Wilder brought me into the business.
What?
And, yeah. He's one who half-heartedly me. Yes.
Oh my God.
The legend himself. One of the creators of Stunts Unlimited. One of the founding members of Stunts Unlimited.
I didn't know that.
Legend. That was just the story.
What a blessing.
Oh yeah. And he brought me in, and I was there for 4 years total. And then after I had my card for a couple of years, I was like, okay, it's not really popping off down here right now. And I can be a broke stuntman in LA. I want to act, and that's going to be easier in LA. So I just packed up, shipped out to LA. Been there ever since.
Amazing.
Man, we were in Orlando at the same time, because I was going to Full Sail in 98.
Nice.
Yeah.
You weirdos.
Orlando in 98 was fun, though. It was fun. It wasn't a ton of work, but it was fun.
Good times. The Pleasure Island.
Yes, PI. Okay, so Lisa.
Yeah.
Pleasure Island. I got to tell you. So the first thing I did when I got to Florida was I got a Florida ID. I kept my Ohio driver's license, but I got a Florida ID because that's the unlock code for Florida. That's the cheat code. You get 60 to 70% off on everything. You're no longer a tourist. Yeah. So then we got the Pleasure Island year-long pass or whatever.
Annual pass, yes, sir.
And that year, starting in 98, all the way through 99, it was Millennial New Year's every night on Pleasure Island.
Oh God!
So there was Prince 1999. It was just popping off. I saw Big Pun out there that year, and
it was 8 clubs. There was a whole strip that was just a club. It was like New Orleans, every night.
No,
right, every night.
8 separate clubs.
I mean, we read about stuff in the news because shit would happen, and then it would make national news. I know what it is. I just didn't know what it was like.
It was
but
amazing.
Orlando was fun back then. And then there was some cool after-hour spots and stuff, too, where you could bring your own liquor and stuff in, and just weird, crazy things you can't do anywhere else in the country that somehow Orlando was getting away with.
Yep.
Anyway, we can move on to the
back to
talk.
So you went out to Hollywood.
Yeah, came out to Hollywood.
What year?
Now, my intention was always to be an actor. I didn't actually even conceive of what stunting was until Glenn, swung a fist at me, and I took a good reaction. He said, "Do you want to be a stuntman?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes, I do.
Great way to, get into the business, learn about the business. One of the things early on, I actually did have the foresight to consider this. As a stuntman, you're neither below the line nor above the line. You're kind of on the line, which means you get to see both sides.
Yes.
And you get to see how both sides are treated, and you kind of get in this nice, kind of in-between spot of learning what makes the below-the-line people upset and learning how above the line are treated and what they can see and get away with and all that other stuff. And it can make transitioning as a performer a lot smoother because you have a different attitude coming in.
That was my experience.
Because if you don't have a below the line experience, the way they treat you will lead you to believe different things about how the industry works.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You just come in as a performer, you as an actor, you have this whole perception of what things are, and you're like, oh, okay, that's how it works. And you kind of have it can easily lend itself to a more cavalier attitude about how work goes.
Especially if your successes are defining, you think the world revolves around you. Yes. That's so easy.
Yes.
Okay, but I got to ask both of you guys this because you both have come in and out of acting and doing some stunt stuff. But nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, shit, yeah, I'm the one that's really good at falling down. I can get my ass busted better than him. Like, how do you go from like being an actor to all of a sudden saying, okay, no, I can fake that punch, or I can take that hit, or I can legit fall down this flight of stairs.
Well,
like, this is not easy.
You might not
stuff.
know, but stage performance does involve stage fighting. So
okay,
yeah, it's part of the storytelling.
Yeah. And I got involved in martial arts because I knew I wanted to do action movies.
Cool.
And so I got on the martial arts demo team for the school I was with.
Nice.
And we were fake fighting and taking falls on concrete. So yeah, with no pads because you're wearing your martial arts.
Wait, Dame. Are you one of those old schoolers like Glenn that are like, we didn't have pads, you shouldn't need pads?
No, I'm one of those old school ones that like, I didn't have pads, but you do, and you should use them.
Use them. Thank you so much.
So always do this. I see people, I'm like, here, take some pads. I'm like, oh, I don't need any pads. I'm like, you don't for the first 3.
You will.
I mean, it still takes something. It still takes something special though. Like, I studied martial arts, but I didn't. But my entire goal was to never fall down and never get hit and never even act like I was hurt. It was still counterintuitive to what you guys are doing.
What did you think about like the action stars? You know, that do more of the stuff. People who are in action movies who do more of the stuff, they can get more. There's just benefits to being able to do it.
Right.
And there's no better way to learn how to do action properly on a set than to work in stunts.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to do action as well as a stunt. I don't care how long you've been acting and doing action. Unless you did stunts for a while, you're just not going to be as good at it.
Yeah,
interesting.
I agree.
Okay, that's a good point.
You just don't have that frame. You don't have that. Once again, it's the being below the line enough to hear a producer call you expendables.
Mm.
The coordinator was quite happy about that. There was
in there.
quick conversation. One of my favorite coordinators of all time, Mike Massa.
Oh, Mikey, I love him.
So we're working, and he's incredible. So I'm working for him, and I can't remember what his position was, but he kept saying, all right, bring in the expendables. And I just saw like Mike's jaw getting tighter and tighter and tighter as the day going on. And finally he goes,
oh.
And they walk over, and I see this.
Awesome. Yeah.
So then they walk back over, and he goes, okay, so we need the stunties to come in, and if the stuntmen would join us, that'd be, if we can invite the stunt people to
calm him right down. Love it.
Many times I saw Mike pull somebody aside and help them get proper perspective on what was going on.
It is so amazing when you watch one of our mentors, one of our coordinators on a set stand for us. You know what I mean? To like actually stand up. And I can count them on one hand, the ones I've seen really go to bat when things are about to go to shit. Like, like walk off a set, even take the team with them because the safety standards aren't good.
Yep. I will shut this set down.
Yeah. There will be no action today.
if you would like to get the shot, we're going to do it safely.
Yes.
And we're going to do it the way we rehearsed.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
why is it so? It shouldn't be complicated, but I guess it is.
It can be complicated because people don't understand sometimes.
You don't understand the breadth and the grasp of it. You're thinking you just throw it in and get, it's.
Yeah.
We do so much work behind the scenes, Lisa, that they don't see.
Correct. Yeah.
That when we come on set and we just bang it out in 1 or 2 takes, they're like, oh, they just knock it out.
So easy.
But it's like, no, there was weeks of prep on some of these things. Yeah. Some of these things, I've been doing for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And they don't ever even attempt to do it. So they have no frame of reference for how difficult or unsafe it might be.
And it takes a certain amount of wisdom, because I will say that it was pretty rare in my career that I ever really stepped in it. But I once told a camera operator that it was time to push the button. He did not like that, because that's belittling his whole job. It's like, oh, so you think I just push a button? But I've been a cameraman myself, and I wasn't, trying to demean him in any way, but he checked me. And sometimes you need that, because I
appreciate that.
You need a certain sense of wisdom. You need a certain sense of calm and patience. You need to understand what the people around you are doing, that it is a team effort, and saying something like, dude, push a button is not like respectful to that person's craft. It's like,
controversy.
I don't just sit here.
To your credit, everybody's a producer. I'm like,
Though I will say
the title.
The camera operator next to him really was just pushing a button, and we should have had fired him.
Oh, that's
fair.
But
that's beside the point. That's beside the
point. But also to Damien's point, like that makes, again, when you're coming from stage and you're also going into stunts and the two are side by side, you get a different understanding of how things come together. Like you're standing in the middle of the stage, seeing all the departments doing what they do just to facilitate what you get to do. So yours is kind of dominion.
One department falls apart, the whole show falls apart.
Absolutely. It's such
and doesn't seem like all departments realize that sometimes.
Well, because context and perspective matter, and people forget those things sometimes. It's like you have to know the context of what these people are bringing to the table for all of us right now. You have to understand that, and you have to have the right perspective to be able to see that it's even coming in, because sometimes you just don't, other people are too busy in their own world. They don't see the full, 1,000-foot perspective of what's going on in this whole production here. Like everybody's doing something, bro.
That's why when we're on a set and we've rehearsed things ad nauseum and we go to do the action that we've prepared to do and things change, it's cool to change things a little bit. But that time when the brand new director who wants to put their stake in comes out and uses the word just. And let me give you an example. Could we just, once that is iterated, there is like an hour or two of prep and change and rehearsal and lighting and stunts, and everybody has to find a way to make the just happen.
Yeah, I love it when other and this happens to every department by other departments. A department will make a small shift that changes everything another department has to do. It's just like everything's like, oh, you're doing that.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
how much longer?
I'll be back in 2 hours after we reset our entire department.
Yeah. No, but always 5 minutes. Always say 5 minutes, no matter what it is. Hair and makeup, 5 minutes. I asked him one day, I was like, why do you always tell them 5 when you know full well it's going to take another 45?
See, I stopped doing that as a director and producer. I started saying, okay, I need a real 30. I just tell it how it is now. I'm like, I need a real 40.
We hear that, but other times, say, they're 5 minutes. So okay, we don't know.
5 minutes.
I have learned, having been in both kind of levels and been crew and been a director and producer, I have learned, like, why am I bullshitting my boys? They need to know, like, look, I need all these lights reset. I am so sorry. We are changing this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be changing this, but we are changing this.
Yeah.
And I need it done in like a real 30, and then everybody can get a break. And like, I don't say take 5. I say take 15, because it's going to really be 15. But in 15, let's be back and let's work.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. But that is so rare. Like me and a couple other, directors and producers that I know do that, but so few of them. Even ADs, even real sharp ADs will be like, take 5. And it's like, no, that's not a real 5. Like, tell me how long.
Like next 2 hours back in
half the time I get to enjoy a take 5. It's when I can't take a take 5. It's when I'm gelled up before a fire burn, or it's when I'm like in a harness and I'm like,
oh, take 5. Yeah, great.
What should I do? Like, you want to break for lunch? I'm like, no,
you're the one looking at him like, it better be 5, motherfucker.
I want to do the thing.
I will set myself on fire right now. Better be 5.
So why is it? I've got 2 things for you. The first one is this. Why is it some of my favorite people who have the most amount of accomplishments, in my opinion, have the smallest bios? What is with these IMDb bios? You just can't be bothered to write about how awesome you are.
Man, she gonna get you. She did mine. She gonna get you.
I don't even know what my bio is right now, if I'm being 100% honest with you.
Because it's probably irrelevant.
I saw it for a second, and I was like, there's some, and I like wrote, like I was in the middle of doing 4 different things, and I was like, this isn't right. That's a little closer. And then I kept moving. I was like, I should go back and redo that. And then
it's this big. The only thing I think you got like accurate is that you're a multi-faceted American actor. After that, I'm like, where is all of your accomplishment? You know what I mean?
Why is my dog barking?
You're gonna wake up tomorrow. Lisa's gonna rewrite your shit.
It's gonna be done. I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah.
Wait, let me see. What does it say?
It'll be like my 20th bio on IMDb. I don't mind.
This isn't bad. It's like 5 sentences. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about this? How about this exercise? Damion, why don't you tell us what the IMDb bio should be? What should be on there?
He won't tell you. He can't be. He doesn't have the ignorant attitude.
A bunch of stuff that you do, and then a bunch of stuff that you've done.
And you judge it. You judge. You have to judge.
I mean,
so So if you had to judge yourself,
it's there. You just read some of those credits. It's
okay, fine. I will do it.
It's judged enough.
I'm gonna fangirl your bio over and see if you like it and you can
publish it. Thank you.
So okay, just the facts. Fine. Okay. Here's a cool fact. You and I share some. Hi, puppy. You and I share something in common. We are both part of the unique Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ta-da! And one of your credits, I think, is one of the coolest in your entire resume. And all it is, I think it's like man number one, right? Man number one. So this is why Damion is a perfect guest for Greige Against the Machine.
Man,
because y'all don't know.
Man number one in the MCU. Who is man number one?
And you won't. You won't, because it was top secret. Hush shit. Like I
know a lot of Marvel stuff.
Damion wound up getting the call to premiere a character for the first freaking time in the Marvel universe ever by a live person.
Like Wolverine?
Better. And it was so hush hush. He couldn't talk about it.
Silver Surfer.
Nope. Couldn't post about it. When it was over, he really couldn't brag about it. And then later on, they decided, no fault of Damion's, he freaking killed it. They're like, we think we want to go with a big name actor, and then a big name actor wound up, and that's all anybody ever knows. But Damion premiered Thanos.
Who?
Thanos. Ron
with the glove. With the
there was no glove. There was no glove.
There was no glove when he did it. No.
Well, so we're talking like in the Avengers?
Yes.
We're talking Civil War. Yeah.
Avengers. Civil War was.
Or Avengers. That was later. Yeah.
Civil War was this. Avengers was that.
Avengers,
well, I mean, we get them mixed up being from Cleveland because both of those movies blew up our city.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they
blew up
took
large
out a
portions of
lamplight.
Cleveland.
Yeah, sorry. Quit fucking up Cleveland, please. When you,
sorry. Yeah, DC is fucking up Cleveland now with Superman, so everybody just comes and fucking up Cleveland. That's cool.
But you absolutely killed this. The fans went crazy. They still go crazy. Like every time you go to Comic-Con, everyone's got to stop by your booth. It's just so cool. And I keep going, my God, what if they just used Damion the whole time?
Wanted a big name, and the beautifully horrific part about it is not being able to talk about it means I couldn't make the moves that were necessary to keep it.
Right.
They backed you into a corner.
I was in such a small agency at the time that there was no way for them to maneuver with that knowledge and
no leverage
big enough to show that I had the stuff.
Yeah, you couldn't bust out at Comic-Con keep the original Thanos. Thanos is black. You couldn't do none of that.
I did actually. I was asked to headline a con.
Cool.
And I called Marvel. I was like, hey, what's up? I was like, they want me to headline a con. It's Thanos. And they were like, well, you can do man number one. I'm like, that's not really that much of a draw.
Not a thing.
Thanos is a draw. Man number one is cool. Ooh, what?
I feel like we should make shirts that say man number one. You know what I mean? Like people who know.
Right. If people who know. I'll be walking to Comic-Con and be like, just
so cool.
I've had people start crying, and that's it's just me.
You did that.
Well, but I mean, look, you were still part of.
I just turned around and smiled.
No, you did do something.
Brought their childhood comic book dreams to life.
You were a part of something that literally changed cinema in this country
forever.
It did.
Yeah.
And even if you were only a small part of it,
and then I kind of picked it up. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you were still a part of it. I have a friend that started at Marvel on Civil War, and it's like, look, if you were in that period, in that time frame, you were part of a cinematic movement.
Yeah.
And people can say whatever they want about that movement, because some people now are like, oh, it killed cinema, and some people are like, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened. It doesn't matter. It still changed the whole game.
It did.
And you were a part of it, whether you like it or not, whether they gave you the right credit for it or not.
I'm good with it, because it wasn't even something I had even thought about before it happened. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And you knew too, like you knew where it was going. Like you knew they were going to replace you. And
I was
this
like,
happens to a lot of us.
I was thinking about, I'm like, the chances of me being able, I said, so many things have to go miraculously in order for me to be able to keep this.
Well,
and there just wasn't enough time between launch of the movie and when they actually went after it with lifing.
Yeah.
For me to be able to do anything.
Well, no disrespect to Perlman because he's fucking phenomenal. Obviously, you're my Thanos. Bro, it was Josh.
Yeah.
Idiot.
and you know what?
I don't care. Also, phenomenally talented, but yeah, very, very different. Very different.
Well, and you know what? Like, yeah, it was just, yeah.
What you gonna do?
Yep. What it was. It's something I'll always own as the, that was me.
Okay, so here's my adjacent question for you, and I was talking to this about this with a writer friend of mine, of that a good bad guy doesn't know they're the bad guy, and in the Thanos mind character, like he was really saying, "I'm trying to save the universe with population control." Okay, so if you're Thanos and you can snap the finger, you have the whole gauntlet, you've got the whole thing, you've got all the power. Are you believing your own hype or not? Are you believing that you're saving the universe or not?
Population control never worked for me. It doesn't make any sense, especially if he's a genius. Because here's the problem. The problem is, if any genius bit of scientific research, once the paths forward are formed, once the life paths have been formed in an ecosystem, if you eliminate a great deal of the ecosystem, it returns at twice the rate it originally expanded.
So you're actually making it worse if you snap the finger and
you're actually making it worse. Whereas if you go with the comic book and he's like, I worship death. I want death to notice me.
Yeah.
What's up, death? Perfectly pure. I love death. You all are inconsequential to me. It is more important to me that I prove my love for this entity than it is that you survive.
Wild.
That
and
works.
Do you think
perfect?
You like the comic book version better? You would have gone if you had your say. If you're in the meeting, if you're in the room, you get a producer credit and you're playing Thanos. You're like, look, y'all, we can't do this mumbo jumbo 50% bullshit.
Hell was right there. Hella was right there.
Right.
One of her little plans was she managed to whisper in the ear of a young Titan who had deviant genes and so did not present as a regular Titan and felt a certain way about it and had a whatever for death, and she's been speaking to him his whole life. And then it could even be looked at as almost kind of like revenge, him actually acting because she was defeated, and he's like, I got to bring her back. There she's back.
Yeah,
there's so many different ways it could have been played within the confines of the story that they had that could have done it.
See, you're the anti-Gwyneth Paltrow. She doesn't even know what part of the MCU that she was in. And you're like, look, I studied this shit. I got stacks of...
But it's to my benefit that I did not do it, because the whole time I would have been going...
You've been like...
I know. So that's the...
My motivation is all wrong in this scene, y'all.
That's the reason why the fans of the universes, DC and Marvel, are so passionate when decisions are made and they're like, this is not how it is. This is wrong. They're so ingrained in the world. They kind of get, like you said, the psychology behind why these characters do these things and how it affects the universes. Yeah. But also, like, when you get a role,
you gotta make it work. You gotta say, okay, I get that. But there's one built-in thing with all of these fandoms, with Marvel, DC, quite a few comic book universes have it, that makes it very, very easy for you to switch it up and make it work. Multiverse.
Well, multiverse.
Right.
Every single
bringing it in the smartest thing ever.
This is not that universe. This is this universe, and in
this.
Universe,
okay, listen. I didn't grow up on all these comic books, and that multiverse trips me up. It is massive.
But here's why it's the right. But here's why it's the right thing. Here's why it's the right thing. When I was doing the writer thing, and I was a comedy writer, and I was signed, and we were selling shit or whatever, I got a chance to meet J.J. Abrams. And it was huge to me. Like as a writer, he was one of my idols, and got a chance to meet him. And he said some of the most poignant shit in like the shortest meeting of all time, because we weren't pitching him or anything. He was working on Star Trek at the time. And I got to meet him, and I was a Trekker, and I was a fan. So
how
I was
many
like,
times are we going to intertwine? Because I worked on that Star Trek. Go ahead.
See, but so JJ's sitting in the room on the Paramount lot, just working on some stuff, and I'm like, JJ, this has got to be a pain in the ass. I mean, they fucking all this canon and all this shit that you have to follow. Like, this is not like you're writing Wheelhouse. And he was like, yeah, I know. That's why I threw it all away. And I'm like, you what? You can't do that. And he said, no, that's exactly what I'm doing. You know, me and the guys that he was working with, he was like, yeah, literally we had to have weeks and weeks and weeks of meetings, because basically what we're doing is resetting the entire timeline with a jump in the blah, 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 and the space-time continuum and whatnot. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant. And then he told me the best piece of advice as a writer I ever got. He was like, don't believe anything. Don't believe anyone. Don't listen to anything that isn't good for the story. Write your way out of it. Just fucking write your way out of it. That's why the multiverse is brilliant. Like, oh shit, we just did 15 Marvel movies. We've really exhausted all the stuff that people like. Okay, well, let's jump to the where there's 10,000 other Thors that can do all of this again better. We can recast them if we want. We can
every one of my friends is a nerd, blurred, GERD. I can't catch up with you guys. That multiverse trips me up. I'm like, which one are you talking about?
But you know that's based in scientific fact, though, right?
Scientific fact, and we're talking about Marvel or DC. Please.
Oh, no, quantum realities, quantum entanglement.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. This I know. This I can talk about.
That's what
you
I'm
start
saying.
adding characters, and there's like 3 of them and 4 of them. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, but I mean, what else are you going to do with string theory? String theory is crazy. It makes your brain itch a little bit.
But I get it.
You get into quantum physics and string theory, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, as a writing tool, what can we do with this?
Everything. We could do everything.
And there's not just one multiverse. I mean, we've been fucking up multiverses since Back to the Future 2.
That's deep.
Which is the worst use of time travel ever, by the way.
I think you figured out where we
fucked up. So you kind of gotta love it anyway.
It's still a great movie. But there's so many holes in it. Like, people will pick it apart nonstop. Like, you go on message boards, Lisa, don't do it. You don't want to be this kind of nerd.
I'm already overwhelmed.
Because I have our understanding of. I don't even think like string theory wasn't really even accepted, and quantum theory wasn't accepted back then.
No,
like it wasn't.
They were very separate and compartmentalized. Yeah. But again, like that's at a time when theorists were kind of like celebrities, so like they wouldn't have integrated those two ideas.
Right.
Well, books were published, movies were made. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so I got to ask you about another one of your credits, because I don't know what you did with this, because I haven't watched it in forever. Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
What the hell did you do on Real Husbands of Hollywood? Because that show, I used to love that shit.
I was David Tiberius Perius.
Oh my God. You sure as fuck were. Have you seen this show, Lisa? I've
been on this show. Yes.
I didn't know shit about Kevin Hart, or I didn't know that Robin could be funny. Like, I just one day was just sitting around and it was one of those things that and I was like, this junk is funny.
Yeah.
Why is JB Smoove so funny? Who is this little short 4'2" man? This dude is funny.
Hope
Kevin,
I'm
sorry.
Our podcast.
My bad. That was a good time.
Oh man, we used to make really, really, really good stuff. We never called it content.
Is that how you guys know each other? Do you guys know each other from?
How did we actually meet? Because I honestly, it wasn't stunts.
It's one of those things where you would just, and then
I felt like I always knew you. Like I just kind of,
it's just we were just around each other enough to start knowing each other. That's all I can really say.
There you are. Yeah. Oh, but like instantly, you meet people. You're like,
just the vibe is there. So we were just like, okay, family, good, cool, moved on.
You're in the club.
I don't.
And we love film, we love nerddom, and we love aminals. You are an aminal lover.
Okay, this is where we intersect in another weird way, because as a young child, I was in a black horsemen's group here in Cleveland called I-Card Picket, who were two famous black cowboys.
What?
And yes, this is actually during the period of time when we kind of lost touch. When I was living with my stepfather out in Orange,
hope so, because like
he was a black cowboy. He just passed away a couple weeks ago, and I was at his funeral. But I was reminded, and you know, I used to ride in the Memorial Day parades, and I used to ride in quarter horse shows and whatnot. And I love horses too. Lisa loves horses, and I hear that you, in fact, are a lover of animals and horses.
A specific horse, Sam.
Yeah. Well, I was incredibly lucky. So I always had an interest in being an equestrian, and then I got real big.
Makes it a little harder.
Yeah, it makes it more difficult to find a horse.
Horses are like, no.
Yeah, they look at you and they're like, hey, what are you doing? I saw many times when I was actually horse shopping. I'd go up on a horse and be like,
nah, not today.
I don't care how many carrots you got, dog.
Yeah,
it ain't happening.
Homie, you ain't got the carrots for this. but I always had an interest in it. I got big and I was like, well, I guess it's kind of probably not in the cards, and you know, life weaves and it wins. And my wife, it's kind of a long story. How do I condense it? Okay, I was working a desk job doing writing, which I don't think I'd ever done a desk job before. And my mind was doing this. And she's like, okay, we got to do something about that.
Yeah.
She's been a equestrian her whole life. I was actually taking some lessons at the local ranch on a horse that was able to tolerate me. But, you know, to get to the real nitty gritty of it, you have to have your own horse.
Yes.
And so she spent 7 months every single day, several hours a day online looking for the perfect horse for me. And one day she's on one of the groups, and I believe it was Facebook, and it said, you know, and someone was like, yeah, I'm looking for a big horse for my son. And then they were like, well, how big you looking for it? And they were like, you know, about 17.2. And it's like, oh, my boy's way bigger than that. And my wife was like, how big?
That one.
It's like, how big? Like 18.1. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting because I have a guy that needs something that big. And so they went back and forth, and it was like a 4 or 5 hour conversation back and forth. She sent videos of me with horses, had to do the whole thing of really just like,
I swear to God, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was like an audition. It was like an audition process. You know, there was callbacks. We had to do a chemistry read. It was so finally, we drove down, and you know, to meet him, and they opened the gate, and he walked up, and he went, and walked up, and I looked, and I went, and we just walked up to each other, and it was kismet. It was like,
the eyes.
From the moment, we were just like, I was like, this is my home.
I love
this. Like, yeah, and then
Samson,
you know,
right?
Yeah, Sam.
Did you name him?
Because his actual show name is Black Mist American Banjo.
Because that's easy to say.
Oh, I like it.
The previous owner, she named him Samson, and everybody called him Sammy for short. And because I met him, actually, this is apropos, Valentine's Day weekend.
Oh, it's your anniversary.
So we called him. It's our 3-year anniversary. We call him Sammy Valentine.
Oh, perfect.
And he's videos. He's the biggest love there ever was.
So it turns as big of a superhero as I think you are in your life, and as much as you are all over social media with your accomplishments, your pony, your son Samson, has a huge following on social.
When I post him, I literally have tens of millions of views with him, and like
I'm one of them.
Thousands of likes, tens of thousands of comments. Like, Sammy is a star.
He is. He's a stud.
He's awesome. He's the biggest ham. He's so amazing. He's just, I don't know. He's, like I said, it's kismet. I call him my other half.
There was one you posted recently where you were just sitting and waiting and pointing the camera, and he just looks over and he comes walking up and immediately just, you know, right up on the head.
That's the latest one that just, and then at the end he sticks his face over mine into the camera.
Yeah, into the camera, like, oh yeah. I look good. I'm all right.
I posted that Thursday, and it's like there's like a combined like almost 5 million views on that one already.
Jesus. And then the licking. Why does he try to eat your head?
Grooming is the sign of affection in horses. You guys know that. but the audience now knows. Yeah, it's a sign of affection. So he's basically
maybe because of my hair. I've never had the privilege of my head being licked by a horse. Yeah, I've been nuzzled. I've been stared at.
Long enough though, because you know.
Yeah.
Okay, because
usually I get the hug. I get the
Oh, he does the hug. He does the nibble. He does the
nibbles.
I'm gonna nudge you and toss you across.
Oh yeah.
He does it all.
Not
paying attention, and I'm gonna step on your foot. He does it all. He does it all.
His personality's
oh, he's the biggest ham in the world. He's he saved my mind because all the things I learned about mindfulness with horses, and just because people don't understand, horses are prey animals and they're herd animals. So your average horse is probably in the area of 1,000 to 1,100 pounds. So if you are coming in and all agitated and heightened and everything like that, basically you are telling this 1,100 to, as Sammy is, about 2,500 pound animal that there is danger and they need to be on guard.
Right.
Now, an on guard horse is looking to get out of there because what horses do when there's danger is they get away from it.
That's right.
So if you don't have your whole head together when you get on that large animal,
he's going to take you.
Makes any kind of noise, you guys are going for a ride you didn't anticipate.
I love that about horses. I love that
you do. You have to be the calming presence for them because they are very empathic.
Well, incredibly empathic. Also, listen, horses are little assholes too. Their personalities, they don't like you. They don't like you.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want to be around a horse that doesn't like you. You just leave them alone. Don't. Some people.
I have been there.
Yeah. I've seen people scraped off the back.
we had one horse that when I was pretty young when I was riding, and my stepfather had to send him to the glue factory after he got kicked in the chest. And it just destroyed me as a child. I was like, we sent him where? What the hell is happening? What is going on? Now the other horse, that was Vargas. He was crazy, thoroughbred. He was bad news. But the other horse, Da, was like, I showed up one day and I was, brushing him and getting ready to saddle him and doing all the stuff. And I was kind of like moping around because I got in trouble for something or whatever. And Da just came up under me and started doing this and literally lifting my chin up. Yeah. Now, I don't know if the horse knew a damn thing about what was actually going on with me or not, or if he was just trying to nuzzle. But in my mind, he was the best shrink that I had ever been to at that point in time.
I'm telling you.
They are amazing. Like I said, he's just going there and the mindfulness and the clear, like the nonverbal communication, the joining, the spiritualness of it all, the sharing of breath, like the things that they do.
There's that. I have a quote. If you ever question the power of energy, it'll never be clear in the eyes of someone or something that doesn't speak your language, and that's horses.
Yeah,
they see you. They just do. I tell people, and I've said this on the show. I think best first date ever: go horseback riding. That horse is going to tell you if that's a good person or not.
But see, I think it's more than that too, because I think horses see you and they care. Because I think cats can see you too. They just don't give a shit.
Cats care.
Cats are like
some kind of care.
Cats choose to care in certain ways at certain times.
Very particular, very hard to decipher.
That's my diplomatic response.
Perhaps cats live in a multi-universe where they're channeling all the different energies.
I believe that is correct, Lisa. I believe that you are onto something. I think that is.
You're welcome.
I think that is dead on. That's where it is. See, you know more about the multiverse than you think you know. You are the person who cracked code that cats are 100% fully existing in the multiverse at once. They're living 9 lives in different multiverses simultaneously.
One of my first acting classes, we had to make a circle and we had to go around and explain what we thought every person in the class, what animal they were. And goddamn, every one of them said I was a cat, and I was like, I get it. I get it. I'll show you. Fine. Now I accept it.
Okay, so let me get real for a sec. I got to do this. It's Black History Month.
Let's go.
So,
and my birthday month. Let's go. Let's do this. That's why it's my favorite month.
What advice, and not just for Black actors and stunt people and whatnot, but for people of color, what advice do you guys have that people of color should take into the industry, into the business, to be part of working class Hollywood, what is the thing that you think that people need to be aware of in that environment? That's the serious question for the day.
That's one for Damion.
Right now, I would say you're going to have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not pulling
That's
for you.
real.
Yeah.
Everybody's dropping their diversity initiatives. Everybody's doing all this other stuff, and despite the fact that there's overwhelming evidence that there's an audience for content that we produce, every single Black-led movie is a surprise hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every single successful Black-led movie is a surprise hit. All of them.
Why is it a surprise?
All of them.
I don't know. People still looking at Tyler Perry like, what? How? What do you mean you made that for 11 million and made 94 million?
The tip of the iceberg. The community shows up. People want to see themselves represented in film and television and content.
And we love entertainment. Entertainment is our escape from
reality.
All of it. So if you make entertainment that centers people who love to be entertained and who love to entertain, it will be successful. But right now, and it's never, fortunately, in some ways, it's never been easier. In some ways, it's quite difficult.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you with that.
The access to the tools has never been more present.
Available. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get the tools to do what you want. The time and the free time and the mental energy.
That part.
To do it.
Time. I mean, the people that could make the content, they're working. They're busy.
Yeah, it's difficult to do it on that end, but the tools are readily available. So if you can make it go. So, but it's do it yourself. Don't wait, and build yourself, and make sure it's you. A lot of times when I don't get something I want, it's because I forget to be me. I forget to bring me to the part and try to bring the part to me.
Sure.
And so when you're building your brand, because everybody's going to build their brand nowadays, build you. Don't build what you think they want to see of you. Build something that you can live in.
So let me ask you, POC to POC, it's the code switching is ingrained. You want to be liked and received because you want your project to be distributed. You want people to show up and watch it. I don't think you're saying override that. You're saying just don't lose yourself in the process of that.
100%. Yeah, no, code switch. Always code switch. You got it. But like you said, don't, and unless, there's certain individuals that are discovered that don't have to code switch.
Of course.
But their path is not the average path. It's a highly unusual path. So be able to code switch. You don't have to, but you have to. It's good to be able to.
That's a choice.
Code switching was weird for me because my father's white, and I would say reasonably affluent white too. His father got a PhD from Harvard, and was a college professor. My mother is a poor Black child from Birmingham, Alabama. So for me, it wasn't even really code switching. It was like I grew up being a product of a Black family from the South and an affluent white family from New England.
You grew up with the tools.
Mission of code switching.
Right. So then when people even introduced the terminology of code switching to me, I was like, no, I'm actually a poor Black child and a rich white kid. Like I'm actually both.
Your perspective is privilege. Your perspective is.
But like I said, you can move in both worlds.
Right.
Absolutely. Both. And after my parents got divorced too, I lived with my mom in the hood on the weekends, and my dad, in the suburbs in Cleveland Heights, which was a little bit hood too. I mean, we had our Kelsey brothers and all, but look, we were still kind of hood. But it's funny because it is helpful. It is absolutely helpful. I have a fairly standard white name. So on paper, I read as white to a lot of people, and I will get jobs from it. And sometimes in person, when they see me, if I appear a little too Black, it can be detrimental to my employment situation. And that's just keeping it real. And it's like, oh, wait, so you liked me on paper when I was Justin Harvey and you thought I was some old white dude. but now you see me in person and I'm mulatto, whatever, mixed, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah.
And now you're second guessing it. Now you're asking if I can reach your customer base, your marketplace. And it's like, yeah,
but that's the program. One thing, and I say this with love. One thing we as people of color do not seem to be as aware of, that I think would be beneficial to us, is the social programming on the other side.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Emphatically.
It is so aggressive. It is so pervasive.
Yeah.
It is so ubiquitous that it's not even thought of as social programming. It's thought of as their reality.
Right.
It's thought of as rationality at times.
Right. But there are too many who break from it.
Yeah.
For it to be how they are. Right. Is how the programming affects. Some people don't take the programming. Some people do. Some people just instinctively, for whatever reason, the easiest way to not take the programming is to have a significant person of color in your life at some point, whether that be a mentor.
Right. To have you question, it's different.
To have the experience of personalization.
Yes. Yeah.
Of something that gives you the ability to grant those individuals personhood.
Right. I actually said this to a friend of mine last week, that the concept of I have a black friend, as offensive as it may sound, is actually one of the most important pieces of the puzzle.
It's just a question of whether or not it's actually a black friend or a black person.
Right. Or an excuse or a reason for guilt or whatever. But at the same time, it is an inroad. You do have to have friends. You do have to sympathize with other people's to actually progress and evolve, as we talked about before.
But you don't have to. It's a choice.
But you have to be able to get beyond the program enough to be able to see that there are other points of view.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so this is what I think is important, because what you just said is it's the perspective. And if you're always in a certain perspective and you're surrounded by people with the same opinions and the same ideas, and it's always validated your entire life, suddenly being challenged can feel like an attack. And I get it. So I'm trying to find I've tried 100 different ways to try to reach people with the same idea to see what about this? What about it? It's just, you can't make the horse drink. You can lead it.
Well, here's the thing. We are taught the world is a certain way.
Yes.
Everybody's taught the world works like this.
From their perspective.
And everybody realizes the world doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You have two options. Right. Try to make the world work like that, or try to make the world work.
I prefer the latter.
That's it. Try to make the world work like that, or you can make the world work. That was your option.
I love the variety so much. I could never not do that. Like I love the different opinions.
But you were raised in the certainty of uncertainty.
Yeah.
As were all of us here. Sure. Some people were not raised with the certainty of uncertainty. They were raised with the certainty and told this, and this is how things are. And as long as you do this, and this, then this, and this will happen.
And I know exactly what that personality is like.
And your parents are trying to make life easier for you. So they're really pushing that on you because they know that when you get out in the world, it's going to be challenging. So they're not setting you up for success. They're setting up failure because they're not giving you the ability to adjust to the challenges that life is going to present you. They're setting you up to feel like you do certain things, and that's the way things happen, period, the end. So
my parents were unique. My parents didn't school or train or curb how I received anything. They let me figure things out and find my own voice. It just happened that we align, which is wonderful. But I had to question everything. And I think questioning everything is how we evolve and how we connect. That's what the arts are for. It's the basic communication where we begin as humanity. We tell stories.
But we are so lucky because we are automatically on the outside of that.
Yeah.
Like nobody on this podcast grew up thinking, oh, it's going to be handed to me. It's going to be easy and things are going to be
no, sir.
Correct.
Correct. No.
We were learning that we could make it ours, and we could find it, and we could develop it.
You ever been asked, like, what's your 5-year plan? You're like, I got to get through tomorrow and like.
Yeah. My 5-year plan is to build a whole lot of tomorrows that actually work together cohesively and get me to 5 years.
Your dream.
I will say this real quick though. I have a young black woman who's at the NFL. She's a presenter. Her name is Kimberly Chexnader, Kimmy Chex. She came up under me when I was a producer at the NFL. And as I was mentoring her once, she was asking me like, well, how do I deal with the white old boys nature of the NFL in general? And I was like, look, I want you to attack it. I want you to try to break down walls and barriers. And, you know, I can give you all the advice on how to do this and how to move our people forward and how to do this, that, and the other thing. But at the same time, the most sure-footed thing I can tell you at all times is stand on ability. They can't, once you get in the door, you can say anything about you want about fairness, this, that, and the other thing. I got her on the air like, you're a personality on the NFL Network. So now that you are there, number one goal, stand on ability. You can break down all the walls. You can do everything else. Keep doing all of that too. But if you want to be safe, if you want a paycheck, you want your family to be okay.
Code switch.
Stand on ability. Learn your craft. Do it better than others. And it's unfortunate. It's not fair. It is not fair. I won't say, but look, black folks have known for a long time, you got to be George Washington Carver. You got to be the black person that excels. You can't be
exceptional, and you can't make
the
mistakes.
median. Yeah. You can't be in the middle. You have to be, and that's just the advice I gave her. And I get where you're coming from too. It's like your perspective on how you looked at it when you came in from the get-go was different. And I had to give her a little bit of that because she was expecting things. She's from a younger generation. She was expecting that they owed her something. And it's like, no, I'm afraid they don't see it that way.
I understand what you're saying. I have a different opinion of how that is, of what that is. I don't think they expect that they owe or owed something. I think they are much more aware of their worth.
Okay.
And because because the rewards are not as forthcoming for them, they are much more aware of the cost.
Yeah.
So the cost and the worth equation for them has been from the beginning. As soon as they became aware, they were like a cost versus worth, because the world we came up in was a little more, it gave you a little more reward. You know what I mean? There was still some of those societal contracts that have become absolutely annihilated still existed when we came in.
Yeah, and it's true. Look, if you're in entertainment,
right?
We are commodities. Everybody in entertainment, period, is a commodity to a certain extent, and you have to see that worth and value, and your understanding of that really affects your whole situation.
But there was a little more, I don't want to say loyalty because that's not the right word for it, but there was a little more of a, when I came in, there was a little more of a clustering of, we've done this, so we'll do this. There's such a disparate methodology in how things are put together and built with algorithms and things like that, and all these other, that people don't have the same, they don't have the same groups, they don't have the same loyalty as much in terms of building. The core teams are smaller.
Yeah.
So like I said, so these kids, they see it. They see it. They know there's no 401k for them. They know there's no 20 years at a company. They know there's no so all those things that we still had the taste of or the idea of when we were coming up, they don't exist, and they know that. So I understand that it comes off as entitlement, but to me it comes off as clearly seeing, okay, I'm gonna put in my work. What am I getting out of it? And if I'm not getting out of it something that I deem worthy of that time, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're going to be picking me up tomorrow. I can come in to work tomorrow, but you're not picking me up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
real talk.
More of the story. She's doing great. She pulled it off. She's at the NFL. She's making money now. She got her contract renewed. She had 2 kids and went on maternity leave twice and still got her spot. So she's doing good.
Well, you guys, it's almost like I want to invite you to another hour, but we're literally going to run out of time in 45 seconds. And I know it goes so fast. So we can either like log off and log back on, or because of Instagram, or I got to ask, I know you have some news coming up, Damion, that actually has nothing to do with film per se.
Well, per se. Yeah. So how do I wrap this up quickly? Because we went, like 5 minutes?
No. I've been texting you guys.
Sammy's sick. He's got a potentially terminal condition, but potentially not. There are things that can be done. And in light of what's going on in today's entertainment situation, I had to figure out what I could do to make it work. So I have a big announcement coming tomorrow. And by the time it says YouTube, you guys can go ahead and,
yeah, we'll yeah.
Blast it out. But there'll be a big announcement tomorrow about what I'm doing about that and how I'm putting it all together and how I intend to make sure that he lives as long as he can, as healthy and happy as he can, and I get my head ate on for the next 20, 30 years.
Oh my God.
And Damion, where can people find you on the socials?
Everywhere, Damion Poitier, except TikTok, because somebody grabbed it, but I'm Damion.Poitier there. But everywhere else.
Okay. I mean,
y'all got to follow Damion because he is an ace, and we love you for coming on, brother. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, guys.
So happy that you joined us. Thank you for being part of the family here.
Thank you, and I'll come back.
Yes, please. Let's have him back in a
Gotta come back. We got to do another round table. Talk about some realness.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get even more real next time. All right, guys. Greige Against the Machine, episode 9. That's a wrap with Damion Poitier, my friend, my love.
Until next time, y'all. Stay calm and stay in the mix.